In this video, we're gonna learn how to create, traverse around, and remove nodes from an HTML website. Let's start with creating the elements. There are different ways to create an HTML element using JavaScript. The mostly used way is to use the document.createElement method. This is how it works. Let's first delete these styles and also all the current elements on the website. And now we can open our website in the browser. Great, we have our console right there. To create an element, we can use the document.createElement syntax. And then in there, the only thing we have to provide is a string that's going to contain the name of the element. We can use an h1 in this example. There we go, we have an h1 element. But where is it? The created HTML element can be added attributes and content using the element properties and methods that we already know how to use. The above method just creates the element but doesn't add it to the DOM. To add it to the DOM, we will use the appendChild method. We can add it to any element or the main body as well. We will get the reference to the element to which we want to add a new element using the query selector. With this, we didn't do anything yet. What we have to do is we need to say const heading is going to be equal to document.createElement, and now we have to pass .h1. Now, if we save that, now that heading is stored in a variable. What we can do right now is we need to target the body. So if you take a look, body is just a simple element. To target the body, we can do this. Const body is equal to document.querySelector, and then in there we can simply say body. Now let's check it out. I'm gonna type body, and there we go, we have the body. Now we can use the body variable to append a child. So you can say append child, and then in there we have to pass our heading. And there we go, nothing changed, right? But if you go to the elements and take a look at the body, there is it. There is an empty h1 tag. But why is it not visible? That's because it doesn't have any text in there. So to fix it, we can say heading dot inner text, and then we can make that inner text to something like hello world. Let's do that. There we go. Huge title just appeared. That means that we created an element out of nothing using a create element. Then we appended it to the body, and then finally we changed the inner text of an element to hello world. Now let's learn how we can traverse different elements on the page. To practice that, I'm going to create another UL, which is an unordered list. That list is going to have a class of subjects. Inside of the subjects, I'm going to create an li, and then first one is simply going to be maths. The second one is going to be something like science, and the third one is going to be English. Now, let's say that the science has a class of fav subject, so that's going to be our favorite subject. Now, we want to see what are different ways in how we can explore these different elements in our console. So make sure to save the file by pressing Command S, and then we can go back in our console. Let's target all subjects by doing const subjects, and then we can use the document.querySelector to get the first element that has a class of subjects. So that's going to be .subjects. Okay, let's save it and let's see what do we have under subjects. You can see that is a UL. This means that we accessed only one element, the whole UL, not each individual thing. Now let's see how we can use that UL to target each thing specifically. Now let's do something like this. Subjects dot first element child. There we go. First element child is the first child right there. Then we can also use the last element child to give us the last element in that list. But now, instead of targeting the whole list, let's target our fav subject. To do that, I'm going to do const fav subject, and that's going to be equal to document.querySelector. We can put a string and say .fav subject, just like that. Now, if we try console logging it, there we go. We get that specific thing. Now we can use that fav subject and call the previous element sibling, and that's going to give us the previous sibling in the list. We can also call another thing called next element sibling, which is going to give us the next one in our list. And finally, you can also get the parent element of any HTML node by doing favSubject dot parent element. There we go, we get the whole UL. We have access to a lot more methods. I'm gonna show them right here, but I'm gonna paste them for you in the notes just below this video so you can take a look if you want to. Moving on to the last part of this video, and that is how we can remove HTML elements. Another major thing that is needed while manipulating HTML is removing elements that are not needed after some action. Let's say that we want to remove the favorite subject. To do that, we would do this: favSubject, and then simply call .remove on it. Remove is a method, so you need to have opening and closing parentheses. Now, if we do that, that's it. The element is completely removed. In this video, we learned a lot about how we can add elements, traverse through the elements, and also remove elements from the DOM. And with that, we're coming to an end of the DOM section. We learned only a small portion of the DOM, but as I told you, as soon as you move to a certain framework, you're not going to need it anymore. With that said, once you come to the end of the course, I'm going to give you directions on how you can practice and learn a certain framework and what are the possible pathways for you to continue learning even after you finish the course.